Hey, what is up, everybody? We are here for our first team predictions. We're here with the defenders, and Scott has the defenders, so he's going to try and predict the top 6 defenders for 2016. So take it away, mate.
Thanks, Andy. I'm a little nervous about this. I'm not sure if I've quite got it right, but I'll just hop straight in.
We should be. It looks ugly.
That's a bit over the top, but as the 6th defender, Bartel.
Yeah, I don't know. A bit inconsistent, but let's hear what you got to say about him.
Well, let's get into the facts. You just said inconsistent, but his averages prove that he's consistent, only averaging under 70 once in his career. Yeah, that's 70, but as a defender, that's pretty good, and only once in his career, which was his first year. And he's had 3 averages above 80, including his 87 average last year, which was his highest. And so he played 22 games last year with 6 games above 100, including a massive 146. Don't you love that from your defenders? And another 8 scores above 80. So that's 14 out of his 22 games above the 80 mark, which is just awesome. He's amazingly durable. He's only missed 2 games in the last 5 seasons, which is since 2011. And as a defender, that's awesome. You're not only getting great scores, but you're also getting scores every week. Richmond have the 3rd best fantasy start to the year in their first 6 games, and so that could be a little factor that helps determine his scores and hopefully average quite low into the 90s, I reckon. So he should take that next step to being a premium and average around 90 this year.
Richmond have the best 6 start.
3rd best fantasy start, I said, Andy.
Yeah, right. Okay, I didn't hear that one. Yeah, so those are actually pretty good numbers from a defender, especially at number 6. I mean, so you're saying that he's going to average around that low 90 mark?
Yeah, I reckon he'll average 90, 91 for the year.
Because I was thinking it's probably going to take a 92, 93 average to crack into the top 6 defenders this year. So if you think that, then that's fine. So who's your next player?
Cade Simpson.
Oh.
And he only averaged 86 in 2015, which is mediocre, I guess. But he's priced at $474K, which is basically underpriced, since he's averaged well into the 90s and even the hundreds before in his career. Apparently, he's ripping it up on the track and even performing running PBs.
That's ridiculous.
He's like 32 years old, and that is awesome.
Yep. No, he's in my team, yeah, for sure.
He's in my team too, but let's look at the facts here, Andy. Since his first season, he's only missed 3 games. So like Bartel, he's amazingly durable. But I want to look at his 2014 season where he averaged 92. He had 10 scores above 100 with scores of 145, 143 and 120. And that, again, that's just amazing from a defender that he can post that sort of scores. And he also had another 6 games above 80. So that's 16 of his thing. He's played 22 games as well that season. 16 of his 22 were above 80. And now this year, under a new coach, and a fantasy relevant one too, according to Alistair Clarkson, Brendan Bolton working under him. Just like Murphy and Gibbs, he should improve his average, and I reckon he'll average 92 to 95, just like he did in the 3 years before Malthouse became his coach.
Yeah, he's a lock in the backline for me. Although he's pretty old and he may not play 22 games this year, the gist that I'm getting from his preseason so far is that he's ready to tear it up. So if he can return to those numbers of 2014 you were talking about, then he's a steal. So that's what we want from our defenders, those sort of numbers.
Exactly right. So for the 4th defender, yes, this will cause a lot of controversy, and that's what I love about it. Heath Shaw as the 4th highest averaging defender for the year.
Yeah, you know what? I don't have a problem with that because did he play 22 games last year? I think he did.
Yeah,
22 games and an average 96 from a defender. You can't complain. But there are some downsides which you go through, so push through.
Yeah, I thought you'd be the one to be disappointed with it, to be honest. Kind of relieved about that.
No, actually, viewers at home, I was the one to steal Heath Shaw off of Scott in Elite last year. for an unfair trade, and after that he went like 700s in a row. So
that was the trade of the season.
It was for me, not for you.
Yeah, no. Anyway, 2015 was his second year averaging over 90, and his first was in 2011. So that's a bit worrying that they're so far apart, but he did move sides, which is encouraging, I guess. But he had 8 scores over 100 in 2015, and he has a massively high ceiling, just like Simpson and Hooley do have sometimes, with scores of 147, 136, and 128.
Gee.
But 2015 was his first full season since 2007, so that is very worrying. But I doubt he'll increase his average this year. Probably drop a point or two down to 94, 95, I believe.
Yeah, it's interesting that was the most games he's played last year. But I guess it's a good thing that last year was his best and not his worst. So he's not decreasing, he's increasing his game time, which is good.
Yeah, it was sort of in a GWS backline, which sort of needed him, I guess. All right, number 3, Jimmy Bartel. He's only missed 8 games in his career, excluding 2015, obviously, in which he missed the 11 due to concussions and all that sort of thing. Bloody Jure. Anyway, he's only twice averaged below 95, which was his first season in his career and last year. But injury restricted him last year, and if you take out his score of 8 in round 3, he averaged 97.3. So if you take that out, really he averaged over 95 last year.
Is that wow? That's a good stat.
Yeah, only below 95 twice. He should be a definite lock in your team if you don't have him. But in the 10 games, other than that 8, he had 4 times 100 scores and another 4 above 90. And his fantasy, these stats just make him fantasy relevant. He averages 7 marks a game, 20 disposals, and 4 tackles over his whole career.
Wow. And sorry, push through.
Yeah, that's all right. But the problem is he might get rested every now and then. But I believe he would bring his average back up to the mid-90s.
The thing with Bartel, I've heard many times, even in the comments, that he's getting older and he's not going to play that many games in 2016. And I read an article which really made me think again. Geelong are truly in their premiership window this year. They're going to be pushing straight for that premiership this year. They've recruited all of these guys in the off-season that are ready to go. They're not looking for young guns. They're looking for players that can swap straight into that side to go for success in 2016. They want to win. They will not limit Bartel's game time unless they really need to. I think they're going to want him out on the field as much as they can with the skill that he can provide, and I just really think that they need that in 2016 if they're going to win the premiership.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's just an all-round gun, and Geelong know that. Otherwise, they would have told him to retire last year, just like they did with Kelly and Steve Johnson.
Yeah, exactly right.
They need him, and they know they need him, which is very encouraging for us. So yeah, number 2, Jared McVey. What do you think?
I think that what he said in the media earlier today was a bit worrying. That it is progressing a bit slower than he thought.
His injury?
Yes. Yep.
Oh damn! I didn't say that.
So that's got me a bit worried, but he still thinks that he'll be alright for round 1. So.
Yeah, I reckon he'll be fine. But he's my personal favourite. I love him. Got him in my team. He's a definite lock for me. Hopefully, unless he doesn't play round 1, which would be very disappointing. But in the last 3 seasons, he's averaged 97.8, 97.2, and 97.2, which is ultra consistent for a defender premium. 3 averages of 97 in the last 3 years. That's just amazing. Last year, he had 9 times 100 scores with 6 above 90. And after missing round 1, he had 7 games in a row where his lowest score was 91 and highest was 118, which again is very consistent for a defender, and you love those scores. Just like Simpson and Hooley, he's ultra durable, only missed 4 games in the last 5 years, and I believe this year will average very similar and may even improve on that average if his injury doesn't persist.
Absolutely. I don't see any reason, unless he's off to a slow start, that it will drop. So I'm with you on that one.
And for the last selection, Matthew Boyd. This was troubling for me because I wasn't sure whether I should base it on total points scored for the year or for average. I decided to go with average. I believe Boyd will average the most, but he might only play a maximum of 18 or 19 games this year. So buyer beware on Matthew Boyd. He has an overall average of 107 from his last 5 seasons though, which is very good as he used to play in the midfield and now he's moved to the defence. He only played 18 games in 2015, but had 11 scores over 100 and another 5 over 80. He has a very high ceiling with scores of 120, 129, 143 and 127, which is basically what you want as a midfielder. So to have those sort of scores consistently in a season is very, very good.
He's an absolute gun. I had him for a very long time last year, and those numbers were really helpful.
Yeah. But the problem is, the last time he played a full season was 2012, and he's missed 16 games since then. So that could be a worry, but I believe he'll still be able to average around 102, 103 this year.
Yeah, I'm with you with that one, and I think that this top 6 is pretty good.
Yeah, I'd just like to make some special mentions to a couple of players who were very unlucky to miss out. First of all, Matt Rosa. I believe he'll be up there in contention, but I think he just missed out on his role. He's not locked in just yet, and that's the same with Elliot Yeo and Cade Colajasny. We're not quite sure on their roles, whether they'll go as well as what they did at their best last year.
All right. Well.
And now, Andy.
Okay.
The troubling decision with this one was Batchahuli. Who would you have as that number 6 defender instead of him?
Cade Colajasny, third-year breakout for me.
Colo, yep. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Well, thank you, Scott, for providing that insight into our defenders in 2016.
No worries.
Next week, we will be releasing the midfielders, and I think, Scott, you'll be doing that again. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.
Take care, guys.